Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video, we are going to discuss about the upcoming new treasure map legend, Wanda and Carrot, their bats, their Sugo Fest of course, when they are arriving, all of the Sugo Fest information, and we are going to take a closer look at the legends available, the character abilities from the new characters, how good they are, and of course, if they are worth to pull for. For more of these types of videos, of course, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, but without further ado, let's begin by diving into the character abilities of Wanda and Carrot. First of all, they are a Dex and Q dual unit, they are a treasure map exclusive legend, and they are Slasher and Cerebral in their dual form with 3 limit break abilities, pinch healing, barrier penetration, and also hunger reduction. In this image, we notice their captain ability, the dual captain ability in the top left, Carrot's captain ability in the top right, and then bottom right we have Wanda, but we are going to focus on the dual captain ability. I just have the single form abilities here for reference. They reduce special charge time by 2 turns at the start of the quest. They boost Fighter, Slasher, Striker, Cerebral and Powerhouse characters attack by 2.25 times and approximately 5.06 times if the character has 2 of these classes. They also make Q and Dex slots have matching slot effects, deal 100,000 damage to all enemies at the end of each turn, and then reduce crew special charge time by 2 turns at start of stage number 3. To be clear, every single form does this, not only the dual form, hence why we have all of the reducing in special cooldowns, which I do like. The Battle 3 mechanic here is better for all of the units on the team than for them to only do it for themselves like Nekomamushi and Inuarashi do. And it can certainly be helpful, but I do not think it will be in majority of quests. You never know though, we will have to test it out. And then we have the problem with this legend, the actual boosting. They took so many years to fix a problematic kind of captain ability with Carrot, and now with her super evolution she does not have the annoying one class boosting half, the other class boosting the other half in her captain ability, she just boosts the classes, but here we see it again. This can definitely be a drawback, and another bad thing of course, free spirit is not mentioned here and tons of great units in the game are free spirit. I am definitely not a fan of these half boosting captain abilities, and with Inuarashi and Nekomamushi it was a bit different because it was a class and a color, but now it is 2 classes once again like V1 Carrot, and this is something that can be proved very problematic or just plain annoying to team build around. Let's not judge the character too quickly though, and let's check more of their abilities. For the crewmate abilities, they completely evade special reverse, which is cool, and they also boost some base stats, the classic. But for their special they have 2 charges. The second charge, the maximum one, is at 14 turns of cooldown and it goes as follows. The special can only be used 2 times during a quest. So apparently because they have so much special cooldown in their kit, they do not want us to abuse their special, not even stage 1, so it has a limitation. The special itself sets all enemies defense to 0 for 1 turn. They reduce Fighter, Slasher, Striker, Cerebral and Powerhouse special charge time by 3. They allow characters' normal attacks to ignore enemies' defensive effects for 3 turns. They boost Fighter, Slasher, Striker, Cerebral and Powerhouse characters' slot effects by 2.5 times for 1 turn. They take their dual form for 3 turns, and they also reduce characters' special charge time by 3. Quite a lot of things to unpack here. Let's begin with the defensive effects. First of all, defense to 0. If the enemy has defense up and no defense down immunity or full immunity, it can be helpful, but if the enemy has immunity, it is completely useless. I think the only reason it is here is to tie into the other part of the special, when the character can completely ignore defensive effects for 3 turns, which I actually believe it is cool, especially if you are planning to do tons of damage with your last attack. Maybe by using Toki or even Sugar. If you have this unit as a sub, it can be very easy to do. And then we get more special cooldown reduction, not only for everyone, but also for themselves specifically. So after they reduce the special for everyone, they will also reduce their own special by 3 turns again, which is I think the first time it happens, and it's pretty cool but the thing I like a lot is that the special cooldown reduction is for 3 turns and not 1 or 2. It is so annoying to find the perfect special cooldown reduction unit sometimes in quests that having a unit that does it for 3 turns can be extremely good. Important to also mention, the first stage of their special is actually only on a 3-turn cooldown, which can be huge. That's why the limitation is also there, because it would be a very easy special to abuse otherwise. And finally, they can also boost slot effects for these classes for 2.5 times, which is pretty good, but only for 1 turn. Generally, I like this special way more than the captain ability, and it seems like they are going to be more of a sub-oriented unit than a captain. Maybe that's why the restriction in the captain ability is there with all of the classes, because Bandai was intending for this unit to be more of a sub than a captain. Lastly, let's also check their switch effect. They also have a super switch, which is pretty nice. The normal one though completely removes characters' paralysis, despair and slot bind, which is very nice, especially if they are captain for the despair. They change their own slot into their own type, of course, which is awesome, and they double characters' attack for 1 turn. Pretty interesting, and once again we see the theme of wanting to boost their own damage a lot, simply because they can also penetrate defensive effects, which can be tied together very nicely. For the super switch, they completely remove paralysis, despair and slot bind again, they give themselves a matching slot even through block slots, and they double fighter, slasher, striker, cerebral and powerhouse characters attack for 1 turn, which can actually be pretty big. That way, not only they give you an ore boost with their special, but they can also double your attack with their super swap. The super swap is at 4 turns, just like Ace and Sabo, and doesn't have a limitation like the special. You can abuse it or use it as many times as you wish. Overall, after going through all of the abilities, I have to say this seems like a pretty fun unit. As a captain, maybe hectic to team build around, but if you find the right combinations, they can be very good. And I'm not going to say it is a broken unit or a must pull by any means, but let's think about it for a second. Why should every single legend that is released be broken or the top legend in the game? This doesn't need to be a broken unit. I think as a sub they can be very fun, and they can also generate a lot of damage if you combine their special and their super swap, because they are guaranteed a matching slot, a 2 times attack boost, a 2.5 times ore boost, and then you can give them even more boosts because they go through defensive effects. On top of all that, you can give them a color affinity boost, you can give your team a chain boost, a super type, a super class, and generate even more damage. Is that a must-have to clear every quest? Absolutely not, but it is just an idea for this unit to be very good. Carrot Wanda is of course accompanied by 2 treasure map rare recruits, which will not be limited units to only this Sugo Fest. We will see them reappear in the future. First we have Pekoms, who completely removes bind from one chosen character, changes adjacent slots to character's own type, reduces the threshold by 5 turns, and sets your chain multiplier to 3 times for 1 turn. Pretty decent special actually for Pekoms, who is a strength, slasher and fighter unit, I forgot to mention, and at level 5 his support goes as following. Once per quest, if the crew is inflicted with chain coefficient reduction from the enemy, then he sets chain multiplier to 2.5 times at the start of the crew's next turn. This can actually be extremely helpful if you have chain down and you also have the attack down debuff until a specific chain is met. If the chain is 2.5 or lower, this support can be extremely useful, and it can be attached to Sanji, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, Pedro and Carrot. Of course, not an incredible support or special that you will be using all of the time, but they can definitely find uses. Then we have Pedro, who is a Q slasher and cerebral unit, and his special goes as following. He binds himself for 50 turns, so we can immediately see the synergy between Pekoms and Pedro. Pedro binds himself and then Pekoms frees him, and on top of the binding, Pedro removes paralysis, despair and attack down by 3 turns. He deals 200 characters attack in non-type damage to all enemies. He changes all slots to character's own type. He doubles type effects of normal attacks, color affinity, for slasher and cerebral characters for 3 turns, which is actually pretty good. And if the crew has 1 or more bomb slots, he boosts crew's attack and slot effects by 1.75 times for one turn. That seems like an okay special, but I will be honest, it is not incredible. The color affinity for 3 turns can be important if you need the utility, but other than that, the utility alone is not that good. The binding, if you are not running him with another freeing unit like Pekoms, can be extremely annoying. And to get a bomb slot, you will either need a very specific situation in a quest or a very specific captain like Super Type Kid, but these two units do not synergize, of course, because Pedro is not Dex. These two units really remind me of Ace and Sabo, the Kizuna reward units, where Ace gave you matching slots, an attack boost and an ore boost, and then he binded himself, but then Sabo could completely free Ace from the bind. But Pekoms can also be used alone in other situations, not like Sabo, who is pretty much useless. Pedro also has a support. He can be attached to Chopper, Brook, Dogstorm, Cat Viper and Carrot, and at level 5 he adds 13% of character's base attack to supported character's base attack, and he boosts supported character's damage dealt to Pero by 1.5 times. This is complete trash, at least if you are going to make someone do more damage to a specific enemy, especially someone like Pero who we don't see a lot in quests as the main boss, then at least make the damage dealt more than 1.5 times. To me, this is just for the treasure map and it is not a good support. This Sugo Fest will be a treasure map Sugo Fest, 7.5% legend rate, so 1.5 times, and it will be 3 parts. One part will be coming out tomorrow and then 2 parts in the next 2 days to complete the 3 parts. The steps will be the same in all of the 3 parts, and here they go. Wanda and Carrot are guaranteed on the 25th step. The first step is discounted, thank God, and then we have a recommended character guaranteed on step number 3, which is actually a very good step, depending of course on what characters you are missing as well. But Carrot, Wanda and the new treasure map rare recruits are available for that step. The rest of the steps are either guaranteed legends, useless, or a repeat of the steps we already mentioned. If you are wondering on which part you should be pulling, here are the 3 parts. The recommended characters are the banner characters, and then we see 15 available legends in each part. Carrot, Wanda and Bone Clay are actually available in all of the parts, which is awesome, and then V2 Crocodile is available in parts 1 and 2, while Koala is available in parts 1 and 3. The other treasure map legend, Mugiwara 56 Sanji, is only available in part 1. Bone Clay, Carrot, Wanda and the new treasure map rare recruits are also a recommended character in all of the parts, which can be nice or bad depending on if you have Bone Clay or not. For parts 2 we also have recommended superclass Inuarashi, in part 1 it is V2 Crocodile, and in part 3 we have super type new Cat Viper. Other notable legends, in part 1 we have Robin Jinbe, Nami Usopp and Summer Reiju. In part number 2 we have V4 Superclass Katakuri, V3 Lucy and even V1 Viv Rebecca for the people that miss her. And in part number 3 we have Superclass V3 Doflamingo, Ulti Page 1 and even Whitebeard vs Shanks, the only versus unit available in this Sugo Fest. Of course you want to aim for the part where you either miss the most legends or the most wanted treasure map legends, since this is a treasure map Sugo Fest at the end of the day. Based on what we saw so far, should you pull in this Sugo Fest? If you are missing many treasure map legends, you can certainly pull, but if you only want the new bats, it's not the best. You can also just save your gems, because we do not exactly know how the anniversary will shape up this year due to the sync. Carrot Wanda is an interesting character to me personally and seems like a fun unit to use, but definitely not a must-have, and the same goes for the new treasure map rare recruits. They are not incredible units. Is Carrot Wanda worth 25 multis? No, in my opinion, they probably don't. And that concludes the video. If you have any questions, of course, let me know in the comments below and I will try to help with your decision. And tell me, what do you think about the new legend? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you think they are interesting or just boring? Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.